Hey, welcome to episode 102 of the Trust and Believe Nomad Cast. I'm your host, Mr. Anderson, coming to you on the 10th of May, 2022. We got a great show lined up today. We're going to be talking about Airbnb, an unorthodox approach to some of their business practices. Stay tuned, stay locked. We'll be back after the break. Trust and Believe. So as I stated in the intro, we're talking about Airbnb. So let's go ahead and run the thumbnail. Airbnb, the unorthodox approach to work from home. And so what I did, again, I love categories. I broke it down into 3 different categories. We're going to talk about the Airbnb CEO comment as it relates to work from home. We're going to talk about the office as we know it. And the last one, we're going to talk about the way ahead. So let's go ahead and get started. We're talking about the Airbnb CEO comments. And what I want to do, I want to read 4 comments that kind of set the conditions for what we're going to talk about. So this episode is not really so much about Airbnb. It's really an Airbnb, I want to say, attack on the traditional office, if you will. So I'm going to go ahead and read some of these comments from the Airbnb CEOs. 4 comments I'm going to read. Brian Chesky, who is the CEO of Airbnb, recently announced Airbnb would authorize employees to work remotely forever without losing pay. That is definitely significant. Think about all those single mothers, single fathers, people that can't, I won't say afford daycare. I don't want to say that, but, have issues with daycare, trying to find someone to babysit. This is critical. All right, the second one. Working in the office is now a relic of the past. His third comment. If the office didn't exist, I would like to ask, would we invent it? For someone whose job is to work from a laptop, what is the office meant to do? And the last comment I want to read, in an interview for Time Magazine's The Leadership Brief, the CEO stated, the office as we know it is over. So that leads me to kind of transition into the next topic I want to talk about, the office as we know it. So when we're looking at offices, all of us have worked in offices. I've talked about this on past and previous Nomad Cast. My last assignment in the Army, we were working in a cubicle city. And I think that is probably the 3rd or 4th time in my career I worked in the cubicle city. I am not a cubicle city fan. I don't like working in cubicles. I'm a territorial guy, if you guys can't tell by all my episodes. I like my own space. I can be creative in my own space. I don't have a bunch of people looking at my emails, looking at me, talking to me, distracting me, making me unfocused on the task at hand. I'm trying to complete a mission. At that time, it was for the Army. Trying to complete the mission, trying to complete the task, trying to be deliberate with my approach when I'm trying to analyze what I'm trying to do to complete the task so I can understand the task. I didn't need 700 people all in my space. What are you doing? It's due. When is it due? Suspense, deadlines, so on and so forth. Saying all that to say, people that work in office spaces, you have your cubicle areas, you have a creative space, you have an open office space, you have these traditional office spaces, even some of the old school spaces. And a lot of people will tell you they grew up in those areas. They prefer to work from home. So I applaud Airbnb, particularly the CEO, and I'm sure the stakeholders had to agree to this to approve this as well. It is more fruitful for a person or persons to work from their residence or remotely, whether it's in a hotel, whether it's in their car, in their basement, home, or whatever. People want to work. Let's make that understood. People want to work, right? People want to work from home. We talk about the new migration. This is the year of the migration. Since 2020, the world has taught us, COVID has taught us, right? God bless the folks that passed away and continue to suffer. But COVID has taught us we do not need to sit in a traditional office setting. I don't want to sit next to Jerry, across from Pam, looking at Alicia, thinking about Craig. I don't want none of that. I want to work in my own space. When I was a recruiter, Quicken Loans is headquartered in Detroit. And I remember we had a presentation, like a table engagement there. We were meeting with some of the leaders of Quicken Loans to try to, have some partnership opportunities between the U.S. Army and Quicken Loans so they can sponsor some of our events. We could show up to some of their events, and even some of the recruiters that was getting out the Army, retiring, or getting out, allowing them to have a successful transition into the next phase of life working at Quicken Loans. So we did a table engagement there, and I remember walking into the building in downtown Detroit, saying to myself, I have never seen an office like this. It was just open. It was creative. It was spacious. People were happy to be there. It was almost like they was working from home in the office, if you will. It wasn't everyone's in the suit and tie and we're buttoned up and we got the wingtip shoes and the ladies got the heels. It was none of that. It was very casual. Everyone had a Quicken Loans polo shirt on, but they picked the color that they wanted. Khakis, slacks, jeans, whatever. And their job was not to come to work. You want to be professional, right? But their job was not to come to work wearing a 3-piece suit. Their job was to come to work to be creative, to be productive, to analyze the positives and negatives of Quicken Loans and whatever they do dealing with the loans, the mortgages, and everything. That's what their job was to do. That's what they were paid to do. So I looked at that, and this was 2011. And I remember saying to myself, if I was a civilian, I would love to work in this type of environment. We went to one of their briefings, and it was just beautiful. I mean, it was open space. People were talking freely. It was still respectful. It was still structured, right? It was regimented. But people were talking freely. And it was just like people were happy to be at work. Now, that could have been a facade because you got all these Army recruiters in here, and they probably briefed them the day before, hey, let's make sure we look good tomorrow because the Army guys are here. But I think these guys, they were genuinely happy. They were happy to be at work. I'm saying all that to say, the office as we know it, I think those days are over. Now, we're talking about a regular office dealing with mortgage loans or some of these other places. Now, let's understand, if you work in a lawyer office, yeah, you probably want to wear the 3-piece suit. I will believe that's a traditional office setting. I think the Airbnb CEO is saying, hey, if you're working for, it's like one of his comments stated, if your job is to perform your functions, your daily functions, your professional functions from a laptop, why do you need to be in the office to work when I can pay you to be in your residence where you're comfortable? I don't even need you to dress up. Just wear the company shirt or wear a nice professional shirt. You can have some basketball shorts up under it and some slippers. But you're in a comfortable environment. You're in your home. You got your little music playing. Do you realize how much work you can get done? Now, COVID again has taught us so many lessons. Teachers, my son went through it last year during COVID. You know, the non-traditional instruction, right? Going through your daily lessons, conducting briefings. We've done this for years. We used to conduct video teleconferences if we were in the States and we're talking to leaders in the Army overseas, or we're overseas, we're talking to leaders, key leaders or whoever we were briefing or being briefed to other leaders from overseas or in the States. So you don't have to work in that traditional office to be functional. You don't have to work in that traditional office to get the job done. You don't have to work in that traditional office to be productive. So many creative things come out of just being in your home or being in a comfortable environment. It's people that I know that work not from home. Well, I guess you could say work from home, but they're in their car on a laptop working. You don't need to be in the traditional office. I think the days of the traditional office is over. So what you're seeing right now, outside of the Airbnb CEO, a lot of these traditional Fortune 500 companies, they're panicking. They're like, hey, we need you to come back to the office and work. Okay, so you gave me a whole year off to work from home. You said it was okay. But now I need to come back to work, to do work when I was working from home, working. But now the office managers and all these guys now, I think what they're panicking about, they feel that they're losing control. They're losing continuity. It's a very easy thing to do. When COVID happened with us in the Army, I was getting ready, I was going through my retirement phase, but I would still show up to Microsoft team meetings. And we had a battalion full of people, a battalion command sergeant major, a battalion commander, the master sergeant, the captains, everybody. We will all get on Microsoft Teams and we will still conduct briefings. We still will conduct training. We still will conduct our daily operations. We will have meetings 3 times a day. We will have a sync meeting in the mornings. We will have an afternoon wrap up, and then we will have our daily closeout. We were still productive. Now, we all wasn't in the office. They probably had like 2 or 3 people that will monitor everything because, you know, the brigade commanders and the brigade command sergeant majors, they were there in the office. So we had to have someone physically to be in the office. But outside of that, we were fully functional. The whole Army was functional. The whole world was functional. And then COVID, again, provided us reasons. COVID provided us a can-do spirit as it relates to working from home, working outside of the office. But the problem is, and I'm sure Mr. What's his name, Chesky, he's going to get a lot of backlash from some of his constituents. The other Fortune 500, CEOs. How dare you do that? I work in such and such firm and I work in this. I'm the CEO of this. Why are you trying to set a new industry standard? Because if they see the Airbnb folks working from home in a non-traditional office setting, what is the person that works at AT&T going to say? Hey, I can still perform these functions. Now, some of us have to realize everyone can't work from home. If you're a mechanic, you can't work from home, right? Well, unless someone brings the car to your house. Some of our jobs, our traditional jobs, medical, some of these other things, we can't work from home. You can teleconference, but a lot of us can't work from home, right? But I think, again, in the case of Airbnb, since that's the subject matter today, if you're booking reservations, you're booking homes, you're booking anything, you can work via laptop. You can work via teleconference. You can work via from home. You can work via remotely. It's been proven. So I applaud Mr. Chesky. I applaud him as a retired person, right? I applaud him because I would love to work for somebody like that. And he says, like I stated before in his comments, he authorizes employees to work remotely forever without a decrease in pay. That is someone I would love to work for because you know what? He is the spearhead of ingenuity. He's spearheading his people towards greater things because we all know if you're in a very constructive environment, if you're in a positive environment, if you're in a non-toxic environment, you will achieve things that you've never thought you can achieve before. He's setting the standard. So I applaud him. So I know that's kind of on the tangent, but that's as the office as we know it. For some genres of occupations, I think those days are over. All right, so let's talk about the way ahead. Where do we see ourselves in the future as it relates to office work? I think, again, like I stated, he's going to be the spearhead of this, and a lot of other CEOs are following suit as well. I think we will continue to have some of those traditional office settings, right? And it may be a situation where, hey, we all can work from home, but let's get together on a Wednesday or maybe a Friday, have a sync meeting, a synchronization meeting. Let's discuss what we're going to talk about. Let's discuss what we're going to do. What are some of our projects? What are our suspenses? What are the deadlines? What do we need to get after? I think sometimes you probably need to get together. It could be like an internal team building type deal. But I think by and large, the way we have the traditional office workspace, I think those days are over. And my thing is, if you're a company, if you're a Fortune 500 company that employs thousands upon thousands of people, right? And if you are a Fortune 500 company that manages multi-million dollar, in some cases, multi-billion dollar offices, locations, you're saving money because now no one is occupying this office space. Now they may say, we done spent money on all these computers, on all these chairs, on all these desks, we modernizing the office. We doing all these things, and now people want to work from home. Now you can utilize those funds, reallocate those funds for other efforts to support your business, right? To reinvest in your business. I think this is great. I think, again, the topic is way ahead. I think in the future, 10 years from now, I would love to see how technology plays a role in this. Technology plays a huge role. And along with the CEOs and some of the outstanding employees that's going to talk about this, that's going to bring this to the forefront, technology is going to have a huge role in this, because the more we advance in technology, right, with the Zooms, the Microsoft Teams, the video teleconferences and teleworking and all this, it's going to force people to work from home. Again, I just want to be clear. Everyone can't work from home, but more and more people, more and more companies, more and more businesses are starting to work from home, and they're starting to let their employees work from home. So I applaud this gentleman. I don't know him, of course, Mr. Brian Chesky, the Airbnb CEO, for his type of thing, for a hotel. If you're offsetting people to lodge in some of your areas, do you really need a traditional brick and mortar to run all your office functions? Some businesses, they need to, but I think in this case, it's like he said, if your job is to work from a laptop, why are you in the office? Why do you need to be here? I think that's critical. That is critical. We need to advance. And if that's the way ahead, and if you are an employee, if you're working in these type of businesses, they can offset and move into your own residence, whether you're working from your car, working remotely, working from the beach, working from home. I applaud you. Those are the type of jobs I would love to have. I would love to work for a company that's going to be the spearhead of change. It's historic. It's happening. And we can thank COVID. We can thank the ingenuity and innovativeness of some of these CEOs and people. And also we could just thank technology, because the more technology advances, it's going to force some of these people to say, hey, you know what? Maybe we need to have our employees home. Maybe we can have them home, 3 days out of the week, and maybe they show up, everyone shows up together on a Friday, do an office call, do our sync meetings, planning, so on and so forth. So I definitely applaud that. So appreciate you guys tuning in. We're going to go ahead and close it out right here. Today we talked about Airbnb, the unorthodox approach to work from home. I think it's critical. I've seen my wife work from home during this whole COVID thing, way more productive. She has everything she needs, the internet, the computer, the printer, everything she needs to be fully functional. And if you're fortunate enough to have some of these utilities to facilitate greatness at work, man, what's the whole point of being in the office? So you can sit in the office and listen to freaking Larry, eat a pot roast, watch Larry eat his pot roast for dinner, listen to freaking Jerry, put fish in the microwave, stinking up the whole office. The bathroom is jacked up. There's no plumbing. There's no heating. Do you really want to be in those areas, or do you want to have a Microsoft Teams or a Zoom call in your office in a professional upper body garment with slippers on and shorts up under at the comfort of your home? Are you still being productive? That's the key. Can you be productive at home? Can you be productive at home? Because some folks probably get to the house and like, yeah, my internet's jacked up. Oh, yeah, I can't log on. Those people, yeah, take y'all butts back to work. But for the productive people, constructive people that's going to engage in positive activity as it relates to work, as it relates to home, business, work from home practices, that may be the thing of the future. That may be the new wave of the future. Appreciate you guys tuning in today. Hope you had a great day. See you guys back here on Thursday on a Gym Shoe Story on a Thursday. Take it easy. Be blessed. Godspeed. All the best. See you guys Thursday. Let's say it all together. Trust and believe.